What was your life like before real estate? And I'm including the realtor side as well.
Right?
Before you got into became a realtor even, what were you doing?
Door-to-door sales,
Door-to-door
hustling.
sales.
Yeah.
Selling what?
Selling cable, internet, security, you name it. I would
Okay.
knock on a door and try to literally like get your foot in the door.
hmm
And it was very much a beat them up and fast talking,
hmm
a totally different sales approach than what
Yeah.
we're used to in real estate.
Yeah. So that's when they say get your foot in the door, like that's
Quite literally, right?
yeah.
It is if you position your body the right way, like it makes it difficult to close the door. So that's like
Right.
those were the techniques that I was taught.
You have to learn these ninja techniques.
Yeah.
So door-to-door sales, was there anything else you were doing before you got into door-to-door sales?
Cable disconnects, climbing poles. I would
Okay.
knock on people's doors that were behind on their cable or internet.
hmm
So they'd have a $500 bill. I'd knock on the door and say, "Hey, if you don't pay me right now, I am climbing that pole. I'm turning your stuff off."
So collections.
Collections,
Got
door to door collections.
That's got to be, I mean, you're talking about door-to-door sales being a pretty tough
Yeah,
gig.
yeah,
Door-to-door collections, I imagine, is pretty tough as well.
absolutely tough. The job was sold to me as a technician job of, "Hey, see if you can collect this bill. If not, you climb the pole." Well, we made $2 to climb a pole, risking your life. I figured out I get paid 10% of every dollar I collected. It's way easier
hmm
to make this a collections job and then
Right.
work with people. So we could do all sorts of stuff, take post-dated checks. There was ways to solve the problems, but I made that a sales job and not a technician job.
Were there ever any fears of having the ladder kicked out while you were up high?
Oh yeah, that was absolutely a threat. People would say, "You climb that, I'm kicking your ass off the ladder."
hmm
And sometimes you have to call the cops because there was a very real threat. Or people would threaten, "You turn my TV off, turn off my Andy Griffith, I'll shoot you." You know?
Did that ever happen?
No,
Did you call
no.
the cops before you climbed the ladder?
There's maybe one or two times, but most people, I mean, they're upset, right?
Right.
It's the last thing they have. It's the last, like, it's one of those comforts that people are just not willing to lose,
Sure.
you know?
Well, I've said before, one of my favorite experiences someone can have on their resume is collections,
Yeah.
right? Because if someone's done collections,
Mm-hmm.
they know how to reach out to a person in a very difficult scenario, get screamed at on the phones. You're door to door,
Yeah.
but get screamed at on the phones, calm that person down, and then try to come into an amicable resolution with another person. So was that your experience?
100%. And it was a learning process of working with people. When do you get paid next? What's the, how much can you pay now? How much can you pay later? It's just connecting the dots or putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But once people understood, I had no interest in climbing that pole,
Mhm.
right? I'd rather work with you and let's figure this out together. The conversation changed and it changed my approach.
Right.
It was a much lighter, it was a friendly conversation. So you're not the bad collections guy. You're
Mhm.
like, "Look, man, I don't want to do this either."
Right. So I imagine then the transition from door to door collections to door to door sales was a lot easier.
Yeah, a lot easier. The problem that I had in door-to-door sales was I got really good at selling anybody and everybody. So
Mhm.
anyone that didn't need a security system, I could convince them that they needed one,
Right.
right? But I would get a lot of chargebacks.
hmm
So I could talk someone into doing something that it was not in their best interest to do.
Right.
And then I wouldn't get paid because they would prevent the installation or whatever.
For sure.
And that's just it's a trial by fire kind of job. I don't think anyone lasts long term in those positions.
So was that feeling more like, we oftentimes kind of throw like the car sales guys under the bus here, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Was this kind of like that stereotypical thing we hate about other salespeople? It's this pushiness, getting something signed at all costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The better guys knew how to problem solve or actually address real problems. But the approach that I was taught is a very pushy,
hmm
like it doesn't matter whether it's, if you can't afford it, like it was everyone needs this no matter what.
hmm
The problem that created was taking that approach into real estate.
Right.
That same sales style didn't work.
No.
And I can't imagine how many millions of dollars I've lost over the years, missed opportunity by misunderstanding what the sales or the negotiation process should have actually been from day one.
Right.
But that's part of the journey and the story.
Absolutely. So then you're doing well, I imagine, in this seat of door-to-door sales. I mean, door-to-door sales guys generally get compensated fairly well. Is that accurate?
Generally, but I mean, 50, 60 grand a year.
Got it.
It was great for a college kid, not great for someone that's got, a family, 2 kids, that kind of thing, trying to support. And it was inconsistent.
Okay.
Prices would change. There's a lot of stuff out of our control or out of my control. I knew that was not my landing spot. So it was never a long-term thing.
Guys, I'm looking at the analytics, and right now, half of you guys are not subscribed. That is unacceptable. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss another episode.